in the face of President Trump's tariffs, which are rising the cost of everyday essentials, we need to do even more. So today, I'm announcing that as part of our upcoming budget, our government will be making our temporary cuts to gas and fuel tax rates permanent, saving households on an average of about $115 per year going forward. That builds on the $1.7 billion our government has saved families since the temporary gas and fuel tax cuts were first introduced in July of 2022. And we're not stopping there. We're here next to the 407 East in Durham, which is the largest stretch of provincially owned tolled highway in Ontario. Today, I'm pleased to announce that starting June the 1st, 2025, tolls from Brock Road to Highway 35-115 are coming off the 407. Okay. That means that just in a few short weeks, once the legislation is passed, there'll not be one single publicly owned tolled highway left in Ontario. And that's thanks to our government's ban on new road tolls in the province. There will never, ever be a road toll in Ontario again. This change will save daily commuters up to $7,200 every single year. And yeah, that's huge. $7,200. And help clear up gridlock on surrounding roadways so drivers and families can get around faster. It's real, immediate relief that will help the people of Ontario face down whatever comes our way. Folks, this is just the latest step in our plan to protect Ontario by keeping costs down and making Ontario more competitive than ever before. We're going to keep looking for ways to lower costs and cut fees and taxes so taxpayers can keep more of what they earn. Thank you so much, and God bless the people of Ontario.
I wanted to ask you about Honda. We understand overnight in an investor's call, they said they're going to pause that EV plant they had planned for the province, the 4 plants, for 2 years. What's your reaction, and are you concerned that that pause could turn into a permanent cancellation?
Well, when I've talked to Honda, they've promised us they're going to continue on with their expansion. They're going to keep that facility moving forward. So we'll just see how that moves forward, but we're very confident that we'll continue producing Honda vehicles here in Ontario.
Premier, what's the status of the federal and provincial commitment, the $5 billion that was announced last year? And are you concerned that there's a broader chill right now in the auto sector about investing in Canada because of Trump and tariffs?
Yeah, well, we're going to hold them accountable, each auto manufacturer. Anything that we've given them, we're going to make sure that they're held accountable and they continue manufacturing automobiles right here in Ontario. We have the best auto workers anywhere in the world. Every single plant, no matter what brand it is, we outproduce our American counterparts and around the world. So we have the best production lines, the most efficient production lines, the highest quality when it comes to producing vehicles. So I encourage more companies to come here and open up.
Hey, Premier, it's John Woodward from CTV News. This could be for you, could be for the Transportation Minister. We're following up on the relatively recent news that Carfax has warned their data shows there could be over 100,000 fraudulently registered cars in Canada, many of them in Ontario, with VINs taken from exported cars, plastered on stolen cars, and ultimately resold at dealerships here in Ontario. I wondered, how concerned are you about that, and what is the province doing to make sure that customers aren't unsuspected, customers aren't buying stolen cars?
Well, before I pass it over to the minister, we take that seriously, like any crime. Again, what I've been saying, when we catch these people, they need to go to jail. When they don't go to jail, there's no consequences. They think they can continue doing this. And that's why we're going to hire tough on crime judges that are going to keep people in jail, and they're going to pay the price. So their buddies outside are going to hear they're in jail, and they're going to stop, trying to steal and scam and weasel people of Ontario. We're going to come down hard on them, but I'll pass it over to the minister.
You've said Ontario needs more landfill capacity. So
Yes.
Why did you choose the Dresden landfill over every other potential site when the environmental assessment your government promised was not yet done?
Well, things have changed since we did that. It was over a year ago, and we're relying on the U.S. again. Here we go. 40% of all the garbage goes down to the U.S. It takes one phone call from President Trump to say, cut us off, and then what do? We have to be prepared. It's an existing site. We need to expand it, and I'm not going to rely on President Trump any longer. We have to be responsible for our own garbage. We create the garbage, whatever methodology communities and regions want to use. I'm there to support them. So we're going to continue building capacity on that.
And a follow-up for you. Have you ever spoken with the owners of the Dresden dump, their employees, or their lobbyists about expanding the dump? And if so, when?
I don't even know who these guys are, to be honest with you. Someone said their names, but again, I don't look at who owns it, who doesn't. What I look at is the capacity issue that we're facing. And again, we're relying on President Trump to take 40% of our garbage. I say we're going to shut off the electricity. He says we're going to shut off your garbage. And so let's not rely on President Trump any longer. Let's start creating our own ways of dealing with our waste.
Hi there, Musa Imran, Global News Durham. Mr. Premier, since you formed government back in February, this is one of those issues that everyone's kind of been putting pressure on you over and over and over again. Okay, make good on this promise, make good on this promise. Why today specifically?
Why today for the 407
Yes,
road
sir.
tolls? Well, we're announcing our budget. That's going to be part of our budget, so this is a great announcement. This is all about putting money back into taxpayers' pockets. A lot of governments in the past believe it's their money. We don't believe it's our money, the government's money. It's the taxpayers' money. And that's going to put $7,200 back into people's pockets when we get rid of these tolls east of Brock over to 35-115. This is another example of putting money back into people's pockets when we got rid of the 412 and 418 tolls. There will never be tolls as long as we're in government and I'm Premier in the province of Ontario. We're going to continue building our capacity of roads and highways and bridges and transit right across this province.
And where does this fall sort of in the grand scheme of things in terms of your budget as to the level of importance? Do you think there are other things that are more exciting coming up, or is this sort of one of your favorite things so far?
We always have really exciting budgets. I'm so fortunate to have a great finance minister. He's constantly looking at finding places financially. We're the best run province in the entire country, thanks to Minister Betham Falvey's leadership. And again, I'll give a shout out to the President of Treasury, and that's Caroline Mulroney. They work hand in hand, and this is another exciting day for the taxpayers of Ontario.
This will be the last reporter.
Hello, Jamie with City TV. Thanks for noticing the hair. I've gotten a lot of response from that. But anyhow, I'm going back to the Honda. The Honda, it's a $15 billion investment. Honda Canada has confirmed that they're putting it off for 2 years.
Yes.
It hurts, I understand that, but is there anything we can do, or have you been in negotiations with Honda?
Well, I've talked to them, and they've reassured me that we're going to continue producing, incredible vehicles out of Alliston and their plant there. They said they're going to continue moving on with the expansion. It's really it comes down to us producing incredible vehicles at a lower cost, high quality. We can compete against anyone, no matter if it's the GMs or the Ford that is retooling, or Stellantis, Toyota, or Honda. We outproduce the rest of the world. So we want to attract more vehicles, manufacturers here, along with other components. And that's exactly what we're doing.
And then the Stellantis, or the battery plant in St. Thomas, how are the threats of the tariffs affected that project?
I'm pretty confident over the next little while. It seems like President Trump's making deals with everyone. I'm very confident Prime Minister Carney is going to be there and working alongside President Trump to come up with a mutually rewarding relationship when it comes to tariffs. That's what we look forward to. And I always say you can't unscramble an egg that's been around since 1965. You have to make the omelet a lot larger. And that's what we're proposing down with President Trump. But, geez, I'm just starting to warm up. Do you have any other questions, Jamie? I'm going to call you Slick. When my OPP officers tell me, boy, he looks great, it says everything. 407.
Negotiations for the 407 to make the rest of it. Lower tolls or get some traffic
Yeah. So great question. So, we're looking at every option out there, but the 407, all 400 series highways will be maxed out in the next 10 years. We know 401's maxed out. I drive by there at midnight, and I don't know where everyone's going. It's absolutely jammed at midnight. So we're going to move forward with that, that tunnel. It's going to be a great project. And I just want to remind everyone, there was naysayers, and our team remembers this. When we first came into office in 2018, by 2019, we rolled out our plan to build transit. And we decided to build the largest transit expansion in North America. And right now we're spending, I believe it's about $70 billion on transit, Prab, if I'm not mistaken, and Peter. And everyone says, oh, back of a napkin. Remember the old back of a napkin comments? Well, that back of a napkin is just incredible. In 6 years, they went out and got the bids, they got the boring machines, they were boring along Eglinton West ahead of time by about 4 to 6 weeks. We have Scarborough going, we're getting the Young North going, the Ontario line is going, and those are really complicated digs, really complicated. And I'm looking at the 401, that's relatively easy compared to going underneath buildings downtown and buying up houses and so on and so forth. So, folks, we're going to get it done. And we're getting it done for our generation, because I look over here, we're all about the same vintage, except a couple of young guys, Lech and Prab. But we won't be using it, but these guys will be using it, and their kids will be using it, and so on and so forth. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to, and it's going to create jobs, economic development. It's going to be fabulous. But folks, what a beautiful day, and I'm just very grateful for the Durham team, as I say, the mayors, the chair, all our ministers and MPPs. No one gets more love in this province than Durham does, because of our great relationship with our municipal leaders. Thank you. God bless you. And we look forward to riding free on June the 1st, just east of Brock. Thank you.